The telecoms giant, MTN, has today denied accusations of having illegally moved $13.92 billion out of Nigeria, saying that claim has absolutely no merit whatsoever. The allegation, however, does threaten to raise tensions between Nigeria and MTN yet again. You will recall it's just 3 months ago that the company agreed to pay a reduced fine of $1 billion for having failed to cancel millions of unregistered SIM cards. MTN is the largest mobile phone operator in Nigeria. The country accounts for roughly a third of the company's revenues altogether. The company had threatened, in fact, to pull out of Nigeria during the unregistered SIM card dispute. MTN shares fell by over 3% on Tuesday. So far this year, MTN's JSE-listed shares are 10% in the red. Let's expand this conversation now. Deji Badmus is live in Lagos. Angela Coppola joins us as well from Johannesburg. Deji, let's start with you. Who are these influential, quote-unquote, Nigerians who, according to Senator Dino Melaye, were working with MTN to help it move these billions out of the country?
Well, Rama, Senator Dino Melaye actually mentioned some names, but prominent among the names he mentioned is Nigeria's Minister for Trade and Investment. That's Dr. Okechukwu Enelama. He's a serving minister, and basically what the senator alleged is that, basically all the people he mentioned, the Nigerians he actually mentioned, because they're all Nigerians he mentioned, he said they actually colluded with MTN to repatriate funds. Let's not also forget that the allegations he's leveling against MTN is actually twofold. It's not just capital repatriation. Now, he's also talking about capital importation as well. That MTN, for instance, did not go through due process in bringing in money into the country and then used some Nigerians to repatriate funds out of the country. And of course, one of the persons he mentioned, the Minister for Trade and Investment. The Minister, of course, has not said anything. All those mentioned have not said anything. What the Senate has decided to do in this case is to refer the matter to one of its committees here to investigate. And it is after that investigation that would actually be able to, that investigation will actually determine if Senator Dino Melaye now is correct and where the Senate would decide to take the case to next.
Indeed. Angelo, let me rope you in here. MTN shares, as I mentioned, down 3% September 27th, down 10% so far in the year. Management in Nigeria refuting these allegations. But has there been a formal reaction from group management over in Johannesburg?
Well, Raman, that statement issued by the Nigerian CEO appears to have originated in Johannesburg. And there's a simple reason for this. Let's not forget that Mr. Moolman's a new appointment. He's been in place since December when that massive fine was first announced and saw the then CEO and the country's head of regulatory and corporate affairs leave. So it's unlikely he had any insight into the goings-on that took place between 2006 and when he took over in December. MTN generally just stick their heads out, issue a statement, and then pull their heads back in again. So there's been nothing more from their 14th Avenue headquarters. Raman?
Indeed, they're retreating back to their fortress of solitude, as it were. Deji, let's come back to you. A lot of the things that the Senate is talking about seems like normal corporate practice for multinationals who move cash from point A to point B. So what evidence does the senator have to support his claims, and has it been independently reviewed by lawyers in Nigeria?
Well, the senator has actually not presented any evidence at all. I guess he might have to do so during that committee hearing because, of course, he'll be invited to substantiate this allegation during the committee hearing. So we do not have any allegation. What we do know is that on the floor of the Senate, he mentioned the name of the Minister of Trade and Investment and several other Nigerians, as being involved in this. And now, in terms of what the Senate would do, well, fact is that the final decision of the Senate on this, of course, will not be binding. Basically, at the end of the day, it is the executive that will have to take action. And you know what, Rama, I don't think this is going to end here. I think if at all, if there is any substance in this, the executive will definitely investigate this, and it is the executive that will take the final decision in this. What the Senate can actually do is just to move a resolution asking the executive to probably investigate the more and then take action. But of course, the ultimate decision, I must tell you, Rama, will rest with the executive. And of course, the executive, I mean the president of this country, he takes the ultimate decision in this case. But of course, if eventually it is proved beyond doubt that MTN did indeed repatriate money, well, we can fairly predict what the action of the president would be. We just don't know how this will be resolved. But let's not also forget that this could also end up in court as well, Rama.
Indeed. One last question to you, Angelo. Is this likely to be seen as yet another case of South Africa and Nigeria and the continued political spats spilling over into the world of commerce, with MTN as a convenient, if somewhat easy target?
Well, Raman, you'll recall that there was a state visit in March. President Buhari's first incoming state visit, in fact, was with President Zuma. This was in response to 3 embarrassing incidents in the most recent past. The $15 million that was confiscated at a local international airport here to buy arms. Then there was the delayed repatriation of South African bodies of people killed in a building collapse. And finally, the use of South African mercenaries to train and fight Boko Haram. International Relations Clayson Monyala tells me that relations between South Africa and Nigeria are excellent and very cordial, and I quote. And I was also reminded that the 2 leaders met for a bilateral session on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly last week in New York to put it to, and the conversation really was to once again enhance the strong political, economic and social relations between the 2 countries. So according to official sources, it's all hunky-dory there. Raman?
Indeed, we'll leave it there for the time being. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your perspectives. Of course, Angelo Coppola in Johannesburg and, of course, Deji Badmus live in Lagos.